Are you going to be in darkness for the show?
No,
Darky?
no, no. I'm gonna
No,
be
not
ready.
you.
Oh.
Oh
You
no,
look good, nice and bright.
no! I'm gonna go sit down out front in my beautiful Hawaii landscape and have an IPA because I just got done I started driving to work 3:30 yesterday and it's 7 o'clock in the morning now. So pretty typical day as of late. So I'm gonna go and
Hey,
have a
Dart.
beer and talk basketball with you gentlemen.
Hey, Dart. You don't have
Cool.
to just rub it in our
But I'll
face.
get on camera.
You don't have to just rub that in our face that you're in Hawaii. You don't have to just say, "Hey,"
Well, he mixed in a complaint there.
Yeah, I totally unintentional. Just sometimes it escapes my mind that I'm living here, so it just popped out.
Oh, it's all good, man.
See, some people are filtering in. We're just going to shoot the shit for a little bit while.
Who cares? Said Hoop Guy's camera has the quality of Bronny's jump shot. Damn.
Oh, damn. And this is after his improvement. Oh, look at that. You made him turn his camera off. Don't do that. I
I'm
just
trying
got
to
this
work
guy
out
into
all the kinks.
lighten up.
I got something on the tip of my tongue that I just want to tell the people. You mind if I say something real fast?
Now you got me nervous, but yeah, go ahead.
Michael Jordan fans are the best.
How did I not see that coming?
Oh, that's all I had to say about that. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, we were on the edge of our seats for that.
Yeah, but I'll be on camera in a
I would
second.
like to congratulate JJ Redick for leaving in his best lineup in order to take down the Milwaukee Bucks with their third string playing. Good job. Good job, Lakers. Class act.
I'm unable to watch basketball as of late.
Wait a minute. Those were the starters going against the third string.
I don't know. I didn't watch. I actually was listening to Ticket TV for some reason. He's been in my feed, and he's just been tearing the Lakers and Bronny up lately. So I guess you listen to somebody once, and they feed you them the next day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my rant was, guys, I'm in a better mood than I was when I recorded that rant. Stephen A. Smith really fucking threw me. Man, that guy's become unbearable.
Stephen A. has to toe the line. He knows where his bread is buttered.
What's interesting is I watched some of the old Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith debates when Stephen A. was good cop and Skip was bad cop. And even Stephen A. had resigned that LeBron wasn't going to be what the league had hoped, even back then. So Stephen A. Smith, if he tries to get on, go full blown LeBron, has his own testimony recorded to go against him.
Oh yeah, of course. But it's
let me check the chat. See what's going on. You guys want to give a shout out to any people? Michael Seelberg gave a super thanks in the premiere. Thank you, Michael. Dallas was in the house. We always hope that Dallas will call in. This is an old school episode today, so some old school people are welcome, especially Chicagoans and Ohioans. And yes, I do know one is a state and one is a city, but does anyone ever, when you think about the Chicago Bulls, does anyone ever associate the word Illinois?
Rarely ever.
Right?
Rarely ever.
So one of my motivations for today is that LeBron fans like to give LeBron credit that he pulled the Cleveland Cavaliers franchise out of obscurity. And they had done nothing ever until LeBron arrived, which they didn't accomplish a lot, but obscurity, I don't really agree with. Now the Bulls, maybe some obscurity. I can't really think of the days. Maybe you can help me out with this. Days before Michael Jordan that the Bulls were anything to talk about at all.
The Bulls didn't even make the playoffs the year before they drafted Michael Jordan. Now, the year prior, 82, let me see, 82, 83, 84, they missed the playoffs. But yeah, the Bulls, they pretty much what in the 80s, it was the Chicago Bears. Nobody was harping for the Bulls. Now, if you contrast that to the Cavaliers, they were actually on the rise. When you have Mark Price, Ron Harper, who gets overlooked, Larry Nance Jr., Brad Daugherty, of course, Craig Elo. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. If you remove the Michael Jordan element, okay, Michael Jordan comes in the 2000s. Now you have that Cleveland Cavaliers team going against the Detroit Pistons. I feel like they're split. I legitimately feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers would have beat them one year. Pistons probably would have beat them the next year. And getting to the finals, that's just a toss-up. But just knowing that you would have a Cavalier team getting to the finals, well, that couldn't be overlooked. I think that would be very significant to talk about. Because like I said, if you run down that roster, starting with Mark Price, Ron Harper, Elo, Daugherty, I forgot the Sanders guy name. I mean, I know his last name, but not his
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
That
But
was
These phones.
but yeah,
the guy with the Hawaiian shirt on. He's just throwing this in our face, man. Really, really got
It's
it.
a pineapple shirt on.
I've got to watch Dart destroy people in the post. I just need to see it. 6'4",
Yeah.
250.
Yeah, Dart, you got to
I'm
start
probably
recording some footage,
260
man.
now. I haven't weighed myself in a while. I'm a big boy. I
You got
I
to start
u-
providing us some footage.
I used to go pretty hard when I was younger, but now the kids that so the kids fight back. So when I go and if I used to just put a mean drop step, I would just wrap my whole leg around people, and I'm sure it didn't feel good. Let alone just other things. I played a little dirty when I was younger. I'm not gonna lie. I actually, I think some kid broke my rib once, elbowing me back. Keyword back. So, but no, I don't play dirty anymore. I try to avoid contact at this point in my life because I'm pushing 40 and injuries just they come
Oh,
immediately. It seems. I know I'm not 80 yet, but the AOH 80-year-old.
almost.
No, but yeah, no, I've been flirting about doing some footage, but I yeah, I could do that. Yeah, but I got to find people to play with. You can watch me do hook shots and some whatever, but I don't know how fun that'd be unless I just make a parody out of it.
Well, I thought someday we should all get together and play, but with you talking about throwing elbows and shit, maybe not.
Oh, that's when I was 20, but yeah. No, so just to bring that up, it sucked because I was trying to go and visit my mom before I came to Hawaii, and Robin lives in New York. My mom lives near the Philadelphia area, and we were in the initial stages of planning to get together and do something, but it never happened. So but to bring it back, me and Hoop Guy got together and we went to Twin Peaks and saw some Twin Peaks out at Twin Peaks in Dallas. It was a good time.
Enjoying some cold beverages in the process.
Yeah. What was it? It was the Final Four. We watched Zach Edey versus
Yeah,
whoever
I
he
forgot
beat.
the other guy's name.
The guy that they're all hyped up on. Right? Or was that the game before? I don't remember. But yeah, me and Hoop got met in real life. So
Cool.
So we
Well,
got
maybe.
we got to fly out to the West Coast now. Have some drinks with AOH.
Yeah, before earthquakes and wildfires consume the entire state.
I'll probably be in the Bay sometime. Probably I don't know. I make my way around the world. I like to call myself an international man of mystery.
I threw the call-in link up just in case we have anybody that needs to get something off their chest about Stephen A. Smith and J.J. Redick and Bronny before we move on to today's topic. One of the reasons I pre-recorded that was because it derailed me so badly the other day getting upset about Stephen A. So maybe we should just move on. Let me play a clip. I'm trying out something new here. So I'm going to go to this scene. So it should take over the screen. Look where the Larry Nance is.
When they talk about this era has more athletic, freakishly athletic and gifted guys, like, man, please. Ain't nobody dunking like that today.
It's lagging for me.
That's happening a lot with you lately. I think you don't have a strong signal.
Well, you guys aren't lagging, it's the video, but my videos have been lagging. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it seems like you've had more technical difficulties in recent weeks on the shows.
Is it just me? Or is he giving me Dr. J vibes with how effortlessly he's dunking the ball?
Yeah, when he's taller than Dr. J.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But still, for some people will claim that makes it more difficult. But he beat Dr. J and Dominique. Like, this is from a dunk contest, and he won. But like, his head's at the rim, and he's doing that. He did the rock the cradle one hand. There it is, right there. I mean, to be able to do that with the ball, look, he did it. He did it again,
and he's making it look so effortlessly. Like, you don't see him like displaying a lot of like, I'm really trying to do this type of stuff. It's just like, oh man, I do this in my sleep.
Is it lagging for you, Hoop God, by the way?
No, it's showing clear for me.
Okay, cool.
I suck.
I just want to make sure I'm not trying to throw shade. Oh, he's changed to giving us the foot view. You got so let me read a couple of people, and then we'll go through them. Because the new school people just like to claim that nobody played in the past without bothering to do their research. Larry Nance, Brad Daugherty, Tree Rollins, Mark Price, Craig Elo, Hot Rod Williams, Ron Harper, Del Curry, Sanders. And I'm just going to say, for the people that claim that Jordan had super teams, then if Ron Harper was on the Cleveland Cavaliers, that means that Jordan faced competition, right?
They don't want to talk about that.
I'm going to read a couple of things about Larry Nance. Larry Nance was 6'10" and a dunk champion, but despite his ability to dunk amazingly and easily in games, he had a very beautiful, graceful jumper. Brad Daugherty. You guys will have to help me with some stats here. He's listed at 7 foot or 7'1", depending on the source, and I've seen his weight go from 245 to 275. And then I heard the announcer when I was watching the playoff game say that he was 7'2". I don't know. Now, Tree Rollins, without controversy, was listed at 7'1", 275. That's a big man.
Yeah.
But, like, once you say the name, I remember it. But a lot of these guys have fallen into obscurity, unfortunately. Like, I had almost forgotten. And at the time of Tree Rollins' retirement, he was the fourth highest in career blocks, and also came in second as in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Mark Price. I was watching some of the clips, and it was fun watching Mark Price dribble with great skill without carrying the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Price in his 3-point competition made 20 of 22. 20 of 22.
What was that? What was that score?
I don't know, but it was like near the end of his career. It was like the 1994 All-Star. One of those.
20 of 22 is crazy. He only missed 2 threes.
He finished his career with a 90.4% free throw shooting percentage, 40% 3-point field goal shooting percentage. During the 88-89 season, Price became the second player after Larry Bird to join the NBA's 50-40-90 club for those who shot at least 40% from 3-point range and at least 50% from the field and at least 90% from the free throw line. We had Craig Elo, we had Hot Rod Williams, Ron Harper, Dale Curry, Sanders. Let me show some of the opening minutes. I also have this queued up for people.
Bronny was held down after game 1 and then has been the top rebounder for the Cavaliers since.
There's some of that ball handling.
Baseline.
Beautiful.
Well, this game is taking
jumper
on the
from
same
Nance.
frame as the first 4 games have, where the Cleveland Cavs have gotten out
Would it be
quickly.
safe to say that Brad Daugherty,
Jordan
before
coming off the
Tim
screen,
Duncan,
hits his first shot of the game.
well, he was the predecessor before Tim Duncan.
Jordan needs 25 points to break Bernard King's record for most points in a 5-game series.
Yeah,
What
I
pressure
don't
on
know.
a player knowing you have to come
And
out
for
and
me,
score 40
I'm
for your
watching
team to
still
win.
frames every 3
With his
seconds
basket,
on
and
my
it was
end.
Price who scored 31 in game 3.
So I can't enjoy the show. That's my bad because I got this terrible
Jordan gets it in
nowhere
good
in the
position.
middle of the
Pippen under
world
basket. Oakley lost it to Harper.
connection
Here's
to
Ron
the
Harper against Corzine.
interwebs, I guess.
And it's an 8-2.
Hey, AOH,
Yeah.
I know this is slightly off topic, but would you believe me if I told you that Bill Cartwright has a better free throw percentage than LeBron James?
Yeah, I believe you. I mean, LeBron's got a terrible free throw percentage. All right, I'm going to play that clip again in a little bit for people to enjoy. But here's my takeaway from the beginning of the game. The Cavaliers got out to a 15-point lead. You see, Scottie Pippen turned the ball over there when he got the ball. Jordan went 1 for 1. The rest of the Bulls were 0 for 4. And I got to ask people who criticize Jordan for being a ball hog, how can the team be 1 for 5 and Jordan's the one who took one shot, the only one that was made? But you guys got to watch. You guys got to watch Mark Price dribble that up and drain the bucket. The pull up shot.
Daugherty was held down after game 1 and then
4 games have, where the Cleveland Cavs
Not here.
have gotten out quickly.
Jordan coming
There's
off the
Jordan.
screen hits his first shot of the game.
So fast. That release so fast.
Jordan needs 25
I wonder if people
points
on
to
my
break Bernard's
channel
team
just
record
see
Here's
the
Price.
still
for
frames like
for
me,
most points in a 5-game series.
What pressure on a player knowing you have to come out
or
and
if it's
score
just
40
me.
for your
That's a
team
I
to
think I
win.
difficult
don't mind.
shot.
Price with his basket, and it was Price who scored 31 in game 3.
And here comes the Pippen turnover. Jordan trying to give him an
Jordan gets
assist.
it in good position.
Oh,
to
it's
Pippen.
working now.
Under the basket. Oakley lost it to Harper. Here's Ron Harper against Corzine. And it's an 8-2 Cavalier.
Doug Collins with that fro, almost as good as yours.
Well, apparently that's blackface.
Now it's not working again. I just caught the fro.
Okay, just stop talking, because you complaining about your connection is ruining the experience for everyone. Oh, Dallas is in the waiting room. Willie Williams is in the waiting room. Sorry, guys. So Dallas, we'll let you in first.
What's up, big dog?
Oh, what's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling today?
Man, great.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you. I've been under the weather a little bit, but this right here is a joy to watch. So I love this conversation that y'all starting today. But just a quick rant. So I got League Pass due to me playing 2K. They give you free League Pass for that. So I just
Really?
been watching. Yeah, like if you get like the it's a certain one that you get. It's probably like $100 something odd dollars, but you get the game and then you get free League Pass as well. So
I didn't know that.
because I don't really want to just pay for it straight up. I want to have some type of benefit from it. But anyway, I was watching some of the games, and man, I swear to God, this is the worst era of pro basketball. Like when I watch the games now, it's kind of like I I don't understand how it appears that it's no play calling, and guys are just running up and down the court and just taking whatever shot. Like it's not even a penalization for taking a bad shot. Like it's hard for me to understand that this is the way that the game is played. Like and everybody plays that way. It's not one team that I watch where I'm like, man, okay, I can get with that because they kind of run an offense. They got a couple of guys they go through. It's like everybody can shoot the ball. I mean, it's just the defense is not there. Everybody shoots threes. Even if they can't shoot threes, they shoot threes. And then that's my first rant. So that I was just kind of disgusted on that I can't really watch a full game right
Yep.
now. The
Yeah.
second thing was when I was watching the Lakers last night, I was watching Bronny. I damn near felt like it was child abuse to have him out there on the court because I'm watching and I'm like, you mean to tell me none of you adults in his life can sit him down and say, hey, I know you want to go to the league. Yo, you got to get better. We play against these guys. We know how good they are. You got to get better. Like you can go if you want to, but we're letting you know that you should not go because I was watching him play. I'm like, he is literally the worst player on the court all the time. He's like playing. It's like I'm sure all of us have played different levels of basketball, right? The most I probably played is some high school ball. It would be equivalent to me going and playing with NBA players. Like that's what he looks like on the court. Like it's almost like unless I prove that I just got this unstoppable jumper that I never miss or I got some insane athleticism, they're just gonna leave me open on the side like they did him last night. It was like really like, how is this guy even on the court? It doesn't even look right.
When I
He doesn't
reacted,
even.
when I reacted to awful coaching breaking him down, I felt some of that. I said he looks like I looked in junior high when they give me the ball to bring up, and I didn't want to. Like I was scared. I wasn't confident in ball handling. I was like, I don't want to be the guy who brings this over. And that's what I
Exactly.
felt watching him. And then somebody like Kwame Brown or somebody said that the next day. They said, like, that guy doesn't look like he wants to be there and he's forced to be. So, to your point, Dallas, I wonder if it's true that nobody said it or if people said it and what his dad wanted just caused him to do it anyway. I don't know how
Yeah,
much truth there is to that, but 24 NBA executives said he is not ready and he's there anyway. So, he had
yeah,
to have heard it from he had to have
yeah.
heard it.
It's crazy. And I'll say this and I'll let the other caller get on. I'll sit back and listen. But the thing about it to me that bothers me the most is that it not only speaks to it's not just basketball, it's also speaking to it's just this manipulation that you talked about in your rant where it's kind of like you're convincing people that it's okay for you to manipulate the system for your son to play. And you got all these guys in the crowd with these jerseys on saying father, son. And I'm sitting there looking at it like, but what are we teaching if you're saying I'm the dad? It don't matter if my son is not any good. He gonna play because I'm here. It's like it's just this thing that I feel like it's not just basketball. It's like speaking to the mentality in general of people thinking that's okay. And
Yeah,
that's
you're
and
not
it's
at a
just not
family,
okay.
you're not at a family pickup, you're at an NBA game.
And I'm gonna take it one deeper, and I'm gonna leave it. I promise I'm gonna leave after this. And I thought this, and I don't want to. I hope this don't shake too much stuff
No,
up.
hey,
But
Dallas,
I
I got
said,
something for you before you head out too.
okay. The last thing I said, I thought about this yesterday. I said, what if this was Larry Bird, and this was Larry Bird's son? And I hate to throw the race card in there like that, but I wonder what it would look like because some of it also has a little racial part in it too, because we got you know, as a black person, it's like they're backing like his father's his son. If you was in this position, you would do this, and it's kind of like you know, and I feel like LeBron plays that a little. He plays to that a little bit because he know he can kind of use that. I'm a father, and all this type of thing. And I
Yeah,
wonder, like, would it be the same outrage if this was would it be outrageous if this was Larry Bird? If Larry Bird was in the league and he brought his son in, and he was operating the same way within a legendary what do you call it, a legendary team like the Boston Celtics, and did the same thing. I wonder what the conversation would be like. And I'll leave that with you guys. And I'm listening. Hoop God.
Can I answer? Well, real fast. Can I answer that as the only white guy on the panel?
Hey, Dallas, get you for those allergies. Get you some of this.
Oh, what is this? Soursop or something?
Sea moss.
Oh, okay.
That looks like some seaweed.
That what I
But
thought?
anyway.
Hey, Willie, I'm going to let you in a second. Don't lose hope. Dart, you had something to say?
Oh yeah, no. I really, if you want to bring race into it, I'm not going to speak at that at length. But just to the point of it is that Larry Bird and LeBron James have two wildly polarizing, different personalities,
Mm-hmm.
and that's. I'm just going to leave it at that. Larry Bird would have never done that. I'm not gonna talk about the race aspect of it, but Larry Bird, I believe, wouldn't have you. I think he had, and a lot of people may criticize me about it, but I guess I'm in a safe space. I think Larry Bird had a lot more character than LeBron does in respect to bringing his son in, who might not all the way be ready to be pushed as hard as he is. And it's really not about Bronny; it's about LeBron pushing himself. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't think Larry Bird would have tried to push his son like that if he didn't feel he was ready.
The journalist tried to bait Larry Bird to get more upset about Isaiah Thomas and Dennis Rodman's comments, and Bird wasn't interested.
Yeah.
But if he had the mentality that today's players have, he could have really just used that as kindling to push a racial divide. If he wanted there to be hatred and separation, he could have really just taken that and run with it, because it almost seemed like people wanted that to happen. They're like, oh, this will be juicy. And Bird was like, nah, I'll shut this down.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to let Willie Williams in. Dallas, it's always a pleasure. Feel free to call back in if you'd like.
Certainly. I'm going to sit back and check out this good show, y'all. Thank y'all.
Hey, grab some elderberry, too. I just thought about that.
I've been taking those. I took some lozenges this morning. I feel good today. Just this whole weekend I've been all stopped up. But
can I bring my ailments to the show? I could use some advice, too.
Yeah. Bring it all to the table, man. Anything to keep it going to the doctor, because I'm telling you, it's a scam. They want
I don't go to the doctor.
They want you to pay this exorbitant amount of copay. It's like, damn, can you at least diagnose me first?
That's facts.
I don't go to the doctor. Can't remember last time I went. Willie, you are on, making me nervous with the black screen. Last time someone threw porn up on the screen.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes,
can hear you.
Okay, how y'all fellas doing this morning or afternoon?
Great.
All right. So I got a question. It's probably more up Hoop God's territory and how he liked to be more technical with things. The hype with LeBron James and Bronny playing together, I kind of feel like that's coming to an end, and it's going in the way that Bronny's been playing is getting. I feel like it's getting to a point also to where it's the NBA is not going to be able to market that. Now, do you think that? So the question is, do you think that because of his poor play, that all this hype and stuff would die down, and he would probably kind of fade into the weeds and be what we in the NBA would more treat him like we expected him to be treated because of how he played?
Absolutely, because you can market and hype and do all that, right? Like I'll use Michael Jordan, for example. Yeah, we know that there was a certain element behind him pushing him, but he also put in the work. So he exceeded the expectations to a sense. But what they're doing with this whole LeBron and Bronny thing, it's like they're trying to obfuscate you away from the production and just like AOH said, and make it a family function. Oh, this is the first father. No, we don't care about that. Can he play? If you can play, you're out there. But if you cannot play, you're taking up a roster spot. And we know, what is this guy notorious? What is he notorious for doing? I don't have enough help. I don't have enough help. Oh, maybe it's me. We need a playmaker. why is your son taking up a roster spot on the bench then, sir? Like we don't need to hear any of this commotion, confusion when they're on a 5-game losing streak. No, we don't need to hear that because you clearly went above and beyond to get your son drafted. And another thing I want to add to that, a lot of people ask me about this. They say, well, wouldn't you do that for your son? Okay, cool. Let's just play that game. What's going to happen when he's not qualified to hold that position? Are you going to keep holding his hand? Or are you going to let him grow up and be a man? Because I'm like this. Hey, if you want to go that route, fine and dandy. If he does not meet the qualifications, then what are you going to do?
Didn't Stephen A. Smith essentially okay all of this when he says LeBron James has earned this, and we all know that Bronny doesn't deserve to be in the NBA? Isn't by extension he saying that it's okay to have a team that isn't as good as it could be, and that the franchise should suffer because LeBron James has earned that?
Jerry Bust is rolling over in his grave. I just want to say that. There's no way.
But LeBron has earned that.
No way possible.
And this touches on what I think Dart's topic is Sunday, the effect of marketing. I couldn't not talk about it with Stephen A. Smith, because all these guys and the LeBron fans keep saying what LeBron has done for the game and that he's an ambassador of the game. And that all sounds good, but can you give me some specifics? Can you give me some specifics?
None exists.
Wait. What he's done for the game?
Yeah.
So he made flopping. He's made flopping essential in a negative way. The super teaming, the complaining, and what else? I'm missing something. I know those three for sure.
Oh my God, we got Michael Silberg. We got Michael Silberg in the waiting room. He's going to have a full-blown 5-page memo that he's prepared for us. So strap on.
Real fast, I just wanted to add, I had mentioned this on one of the recent live streams that one of your recent live streams, AOH, I believe, or maybe it was Precision Hoops. I don't remember. I'm usually driving around when I'm calling in. But to take the Scaps word that he likes to use, LeBron James is an ambassador. Really? Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad we had the big build-up for that one.
I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna get out of here and let Michael do his thing. Salute to y'all. Y'all take care.
God damn, your delivery is like as good as steam engines, man. Silberg, which topic are you gonna start with?
I'll start with the LeBron James tweet and what I think's going on with that.
What, not wanting to travel?
Not wanting to. I think what LeBron's doing is he's actually he's communicating directly with Adam Silver, but he's putting it out in public to try to add pressure.
Right.
So
sure.
He's got to have. Of course, he's got Rich Paul. He's got Clutch to call, the front office and try and get them to do what he wants, which of course they're going to, Adam Silver is going to do for the most part. But if he doesn't do if he doesn't respond right away to Rich Paul, then LeBron can go out there and put a tweet out, and basically whatever he says is kind of assumed by all the fanboys and Stephen A. Smith and all of the paid fan commentators to be, legitimate. So I think that's what's kind of going on. It's kind of like, it doesn't make any sense. Why this exactly would be something you would talk to your coach about, right. I think he's just talking straight to Adam Silver, trying to build extra pressure by putting it out publicly.
Which is very unclassy. That's not what an adult. That's not what an adult does. You're stacking the deck before you even have a conversation with somebody who is supposedly on your side, and you still aren't willing to just have a straight, fair conversation about it. You've already decided what the answer should be. You don't even want to hear Adam Silver's side of it because you're already building up the army to tear down whatever Adam Silver might have to say about it.
I mean, and we don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't know what happened with the Clutch Sports office and the commissioner's office before that. Maybe he did. Maybe he actually did ask Adam Silver for some concession, and he just wasn't getting the response he wanted, or wasn't getting a response fast enough. So then, he basically is like, okay, well, I'm going to be a bitch, and I'm just going to, put out a question as if, I'm just like thinking off the top of my head something, when
Right.
he's really trying to generate pressure.
That's some cowardly shit. I think it's gross.
Oh, yeah. And I got some other takes on the other stuff we were talking about with Clutch. I mean, with Clutch Sports and their players, it's just straight playbook for them to generate fake demand or fake interest by dropping the one or two kind of little news things about how some team is interested. And it's just completely fake. It's completely made up and fake. And they have other Clutch clients back it up to try and make it seem legitimate. They did it first. I mean, they did it with LeBron, obviously, when he was trying to milk Genie Bus for more money. And then they did it with Draymond, the fake interest from, of course, from the Lakers, Clutch, and then also from Sacramento. I don't know if that was, but it's just fake. I mean, I would have loved to have seen the actual demand for Draymond Green on the open market if Dunleavy hadn't just in the first second of the draft of the free agency, put that out. Been amazing. Anyway, and then they just did it with Bronny. Fake demand. It's not real. It's just a story. It's made up. Bron, they make this stuff up.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because you had a lot to say about Bob Myers. So you've obviously paid attention to the Warriors organization. And I don't know if you're getting this because you listened to my rant this morning, but I was like, man, the Warriors have been reduced as a franchise, to a pawn in the LeBron James story. But how do you prove? I mean, it sounds crazy when you say that these reports aren't true, but from the scientific community, let me tell you, when reports come into the picture, when you don't have a study, a report replaces a study. It sounds important, but if you had the actual information and the facts, you would have a study with the data and peer review to go along with it. A report is just what you got somebody to say. That's all a report is.
Right. And Clutch has lots of people who they're paying to say a lot of things. So, yeah, that's what they do. That makes sense.
Hey, viewers.
Yeah.
I said it in the show. I was like, maybe we're all to blame because, I get frustrated because somebody has said something so dumb that before I even finish editing the previous rant, I've got to do a new rant. And maybe this is what they want. They keep us engaged and they keep us emotionally involved. And that's one of the reasons I won't watch the WNBA and I don't care about Caitlin Clark versus whoever, because I feel like they're just trying to sell me on yet another soap opera. And I'm already drowning in the NBA soap opera. But the reason I prefaced with that is, viewers, should we keep bitching about Bronny and Clutch Sports, or should we talk about the Cavaliers of the late 80s? Let's see some comments. Silver, do you have anything to say about that?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. All right.
That is, you are pointing exactly to what I think is happening. And it's the big question is, this kind of didn't seem to make sense at first, which is, well, the ratings are down, right? I mean, less and less people are watching the NBA. So how are they able to now have all these extra billions of dollars to spend on their media partners. Like, where's that coming from? Right? It just doesn't seem to add up. Well, so the answer has to be that if the ratings are down and people are watching less, they're getting the money from somewhere. It has to be from online engagement. So this, since it's kind of transitioning to the revenue coming more and more from online engagement and less from people actually watching, then they have an incentive to generate as much online engagement as they possibly can. And so you look at how much ESPN paid Pat McAfee, which was insane. I mean, and what I think they were doing there was just trying to get ahead of that and basically kind of cut off or grab the competition before it turns into something that they don't have control over. So that's why they paid so much money for him, because they're like, oh, hey, this online engagement thing is where the future of the revenue is coming from. And so now you have Stephen A. Smith trolling, lying, pissing everyone off. I mean, not just him, but LeBron, like everybody. Their whole, as long as they can keep people like, going online and tweeting and logging into ESPN,
I'm gonna.
they're making money.
I think those of us who are intelligent get it. Unfortunately, if in fact online engagement is generating a revenue stream, then they have their audience, because what do we always say about LeBron fans? They don't watch the games, they watch the social media highlights. So if all that is necessary for the NBA to continue, then I guess we won't ever see the NBA improve. And with that said, the votes are in. The viewers are saying they want to talk about the Cavs, which is indeed what I advertised. Spielberg, thank you so much. Appreciate
it. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, sir.
Now,
thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks you
for hearing me. All right.
Including what Silberg just said and what we all just said. Another thing I saw in that game 5, the deciding game in the Cavs Bulls with Jodan and Mark Elo and company, someone ran out onto the court, but I didn't see it. I only heard the announcer say it. And you know what the announcer said? "We are not going to show you." And I said, yeah, that's exactly how that should be getting handled. And somewhere along the way, we switched to glorifying those people. Out one side of the mouth, we're like, oh, that's terrible. But you're like, show me. And the network actually was the parent here and said, no, we're not going to reward that sort of behavior. And it's a sign of the times. That was cool. That's great. Don't encourage that sort of shit by showing it. So that was one other takeaway from watching the Cavs and Bulls in '88.
I was born in 1987, although you might believe I was born in 1930 for how much fandom I have for George Mikan.
Do you have that much?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, more so than the average NBA fan. I'll tell you that.
Oops, Scott. Oh, I was about to ask if you fell and needed help.
No, I was having some issues with my lighting. I didn't charge it up all the way.
What do you say for those that are just tuning in? I'm going to play that opening minute as long as I queued it up. Let's show everybody Larry Nance really quick.
Yeah.
Dang. Oh, yeah, I remember this one.
I mean, that's graceful effort.
Wow.
Artistry.
I'm more impressed I got good internet connection.
It looks like a combination of Picasso and Michelangelo, just pure art.
I mean, a 6'10" dude that can do that, I don't want him dunking on me. Break my goddamn head. Break my neck.
I mean, how many 16 guys are dunking like that today?
You know who's a great dunker?
Gardy was held down after
Oh,
game
well,
one.
here's some noise.
Well, yeah,
Hey.
you don't know what the noise is from because of your delay, right?
Hey, AOH, do you got any clips of Mark Price splitting the double team?
No, man, I didn't. I had so many. This restream didn't allow me to hardly upload anything. I had all kinds of preparations ready for today, and then I couldn't even show it. So I'm gonna have to just do like a game reaction.
Okay.
But I was reading about how Mark Price kind of revolutionized screwing that up. Go ahead, tell us about it.
No, that's what I was just gonna mention because like I say, a lot of these young kids out here, you know, they would say, oh, today modern day players, they can just do all this. I'm like, bro, go check out Mark Price used to just split those pick and roll screens and double teams like effortlessly. I mean, just one quick dribble, he gone. I'm like, the difference between those guys and today, they were vertical players. They had a little horizontal game, but it was boom, 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 get downhill. These guys, it's all horizontal. That's fine. That's nice. But how many points is all that dribbling worth? Like, I'm not impressed with all that. Like, nah, I don't care about none of that nonsense, man. Yeah, you got a nice handle, but you can't finish. So you're a liability. Okay.
The next time I play that clip, I want people to hear a little thing that they said after Jordan drains his first shot. And they're like, imagine the pressure that he feels knowing that if he doesn't score at least 40, his team is not going to win.
Oh, wow.
I got a caller, and it's Dan Meyer. We'll see what Dan has to say before I play the clip again.
Hey, shout out to Sports T in the chat. We see you down there, baby girl.
Hang on, fellas. 1 second. I'm having a problem.
Okay. What is the
can
problem?
you guys hear me?
Yeah. You're working. I was going to say, you're working better than Dart is, so I don't know what the problem is. Oh, he's gone. Okay, I'm having a hard time keeping up with the scroll on the chats. What sports do you have to say?
Oh, no. She was just trolling one of these guys back. They were trying to, talk about the 90s. So she was just being condescending. Like, what are you talking about? They're all plumbers.
I gotta.
So wait, AOH. So Mark Price was the second guy to join the 50-40-90 club.
What did that say? Let me read it. Yep, second player after Larry Bird.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense because Bird was the first, and then Mark Price came in the 80s. Okay, yeah. So Reggie Miller would be third, right?
Sure, that's what you're on here for.
Okay.
Bring that knowledge. I don't know.
No, I was just see that's another one of my talking points. Like, not to digress from the topic, but I'm always looking at who brings nuance to the game. So, of course, Bird is the first forward. He done it back to back, and then Mark Price is the first guard to go 50-40-90. So, I'm looking at that like, is this era today? Is that not what they're obsessed with? Efficient. That's all I hear. Efficiency. Those dudes didn't care about that back then. They were just that great that. Looking back on their careers, it's like, yeah, they weren't planning to be efficient. They just so happened to be able to do it naturally. So how can that skill set not translate to this era when you have less defensive rules? You can't hand check, you can't body up, you can't grab off screens. Like, what? Man, come on, man, stop. Like, it's just
hey,
hilarious.
with Lerv, I saw your comment earlier saying that you'd like to see self-researched basketball facts on one of these. I actually reached out to him because I thought he'd be great for this particular topic, and I didn't hear back. And Dart, and I wrote to him like 2 days ago. Dart, did you say that he's going to be on your show, one of your upcoming shows?
Yes. So self-researched NBA facts and NMB sports are going to be competing via debate in the MJFB summer, which has extended long past the summer debate league. In the finals matchup, they're going to be having a debate in between who's greater, the 1972 Lakers, who self-researched NBA facts will be arguing for, versus the 1987 Lakers, who Nick and NB Sports will be arguing for, who I forgot to mention, said that he should be coming sometime soon. He got caught up in work, because of reasons. And he said he should be here sometime soon if the stream will be on long enough. Yes, but he will be on. And for future reference, I would just comment on. I would just tip him on his YouTube page because he likes to read his comments, and then let him know you emailed him. And he'll probably follow up with you.
Okay. Hey, we've got people coming and going, but we've got some new viewers. I'm going to go ahead and play that clip. Now I wish well, it's not my fault. It's Restream's fault, but I don't have more to show. But we're just going to
held down after game 1.
don't talk during this. I want people to just pay attention to the ball handling, the shooting.
Still frame.
Shut the fuck up with your fucking no technology ass. Go climb a tree and get a coconut over there.
Bronny was held down after game 1 and then has been the top rebounder for the Cavaliers since. Nance, baseline, 4-0.
Well, this game is taking on the same frame as the first 4 games have, where the Cleveland Cavs have gotten out quickly.
Jordan coming off the screen hits his first shot of the game. Jordan needs 25 points to break Bernard King's record for most points in a 5-game series.
What pressure on a player knowing you have to come out and score 40 for your team to win?
Mark Price with his basket, and it was Price who scored 31 in game 3. Jordan gets it in good position to Pippen under the basket. Oakley lost it to Harper. Here's Ron Harper against Corzine. And it's an 8-2 Cavalier lead.
So many things to talk about. You talk about the skill. You talk about the superior ball handling that I just saw. You saw Mark Price shake his defender and then pull up and drain it. You saw how fast Michael Jordan's shot release was. You saw how beautiful a 6'10" dunker's shot was. And you saw the dunking. You saw Ron Harper. You heard them say Mark Price had 31 in game 3. Like, how delusional do you have to be to believe that these guys weren't good? It's just the fantasy that LeBron fans want to live in.
It's that next level of delusion. It's just whatever they perceive and whatever they believe. No matter what the facts, dictate, no matter what the evidence suggests, I just don't believe it, so I don't believe it. Like, okay, well, that's fine.
That's just the first minute of the game. I didn't go and search for the best section to show. This is just what basketball looked like. That was so much more beautiful than what I watch now. By the way, I've got a crap on Ja Morant. That motherfucker got injured because a ball hit his foot. I don't want to hear this bigger, stronger, faster shit. Someone threw a pass and it hit him in the foot and he went out of the game.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, man, you guys didn't see that? Oh, somebody was trying to bounce pass. It hit Ja in the foot, and the guy went limping off to the locker room.
Yeah, that happens to me nowadays at my ripe old age of under 40.
We've never seen anything like it. We've never seen anything like it. Where are my Illinoisans, my Chicagoans, my old school Cavalier people that would like to tell us what it was like watching Michael Jordan rip your heart out, and how far, if I understand correctly, if they had followed the path that the Bulls took, that means that one year the Cavaliers would have next faced New York, and the other year that the Bulls beat them, they would have faced the Pistons. Mm-hmm. And the Pistons were who prevailed in both of those years. So ultimately, the bottom line is you had to be better than the Pistons. We got some people calling in. You guys got a response to hose? All right, it's spelled with an H, so I'm not gonna assume it's Jose. Hose.
No, it's Haas. Haas is the one more guy.
Oh, I thought that was an E at the end. Damn,
no,
talking about old.
No, it's straight up Hoss.
What's up, Hoss?
Yeah, it's Hoss.
And listen, Michael Jordan fans is right. I'm the guy that says, and one more thing. Just one more. And I say that 5 times in a row, so you can't cut me off.
Okay. Yeah. And an S does not look like an E, so I don't know what's wrong with me. All right, Haas, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm really happy you did this show because, in my opinion, in the whole 75 years of basketball history, this team is probably the number one most underrated team in the history of basketball. I mean, how much do you hear this team talked about, in terms of historical legacy? Yet this team was one of the best teams of all time, to be honest with you. They just ran into the bad boy Pistons, the Celtics, the Michael Jordan Bulls. I mean, this team ran into like buzzsaws every single playoffs, some of the best, greatest teams in the Eastern Conference all time. And if it weren't for those teams, this team would definitely have multiple championships.
Thank you, Haas. And yeah, I mean, great ideas are the only kind I have. So
yeah, for sure.
No, I'm kidding. What movie?
But I mean, this team reminds me, in terms of the makeup of the team, it reminds me a lot of the I don't know, let's just say the 2004 Detroit Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that they didn't have like a single superstar player, right? They didn't have one guy that was like the alpha on the team.
True.
It was just a bunch of either star players or like super good role players, elite role player types.
Are you personally connected to Cleveland or Chicago, or are you just is that team just?
No, I just remember that Cavs team, and I remember that them being not talked about as much as they deserve. You know what I'm saying?
So how far do you think they could have gone if they had managed to get past the Bulls?
I think they could have won it all. I mean, all they needed to do was just win the Eastern Conference, and they would have easily won the finals.
Remember, the Bulls didn't even beat the Pistons at that time. So you're saying that with their physical makeup, they're a better matchup against the Pistons than the Bulls were.
Possibly. I mean, they had more bigs than the Bulls did back then. I mean, you think about Hot Rod Williams and Larry Nance and Brad Daugherty. Like they had 3 legit bigs on that team that could stack up with the Pistons better.
Some 275-pound guys on that team. Multiple.
Oh yeah, for sure. But what I was going to say was that if you think about Michael Jordan's like all-time highlight reel, I'd say how happy he was to beat this Cavs team. If you think about the last second Jordan shot where he took the ball, they inbounded the ball from half court. Jordan gets the ball, drives over to the free throw line, and shoots that free throw line jumper at the buzzer, and then he's like fist pumping, as the buzzer sound. You remember that play?
Oh, of course.
The double pump.
That play was against the Cavs, and that was, you remember, Craig Elo trying to guard Jordan on the out of bounds play. They tried to double team him too, but Jordan got his shit off, and like that's how excited Jordan was just to beat this team. Like that's how good the Cavs were, and Ron Harper and the boys.
It's a great point. I just assumed that everybody knows you're talking about the shot because it's literally called
the shot. That's right.
So I should have had that clip up. There's multiple angles of it, but 2 interesting things I want you brought up 2 interesting things here. Larry Nance and Craig Elo were trying to stop Michael Jordan on that play, and it wasn't just Elo.
Right.
And I always expect LeBron fanboys to come at me for saying that Jordan was fairly reserved and didn't celebrate everything he did, and point that play out, because there were a few times where Jordan's emotions built up enough to where he celebrated, such as when people were fouling the shit out of him and he dunked on him anyway.
Yeah, and you
this
could say the Dikembe Mutombo finger wag.
Yeah, and that was pretty mellow, to be honest, but
true.
Still. But to your point, getting past these Cavs was a monumental achievement, and he was stoked. They lost every regular season game against that team.
That's true.
So yes, they really did overcome something in order to beat that team, and sadly they've just been washed away.
Right.
Yeah, I appreciate that you appreciate them.
Yeah, and you even had guys like Ron Harper. Ron Harper could have been the alpha on that team because he was the young star. He was the young star just coming up. And then they traded his ass to the Clippers. Why did they make that trade? Why did they trade Ron Harper to the Clippers? That don't make no sense.
I think he got injured, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he got injured on the Clippers, I think.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, he got injured on the Clippers. I think they traded him for like Danny Manning, the number 1 pick in '88. I forget exactly what they traded him for. But that was a terrible trade, bro.
As long as you're bringing up Ron Harper, apparently there's some controversy about what he said on The Last Dance, claiming that he told Wilkins that he wanted to guard Jordan. And it kind of like painted Elo in a bad light. Like Elo shouldn't have been the one assigned to him. And I saw an article that got Elo's perspective on it. And Elo was like, well, I'm a little bit surprised. I was surprised when I saw that in the show because I never heard Harper say that. Lenny Wilkins said, I never heard Harper say that. And Elo was actually known as a great defender, and Jordan complimented his defense. And they went on to say that they actually let Harper rest on defense so that he could be more of an offensive threat. It's very interesting that made it into the film, especially if it's not accurate.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much for calling in and sharing your appreciation for the team.
Yeah, you bet. It's a pleasure.
Thanks, Hoss.
All right.
Got my light back. Let there be light.
Tom, I see your camera fumbling around in the back. Are you ready to come on, or you need a minute? I can't hear you unless I enable you, so I'm not talking to anyone.
Sorry.
Tom,
I'm trying to get this. Oh, hey, thanks, guys. Love the streams. Sorry, I'm trying to flip the camera on the software, but it's not letting me do it. So I'm just going to go blind for now.
No worries.
But to answer the question, first of all, thanks for putting this on. Yeah, those Cavs were a beast, but unfortunately for them, every other team in the East were also just as beast-like, including Larry Bird's Celtics. Ron Harper got traded from that team because there was a rumor going around at the time that him or his buddies were into drugs, and the owner wasn't going to have any of that, so he sent them away for a song.
Interesting.
But didn't know
that. But what strikes me most about today's NBA and the big ongoing GOAT debate is that and I kind of follow politics casually, but this whole thing really feels like a political operation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's exactly what it is. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I mean, even to the point where on social media, where you see suspect accounts posting up, more LeBron James worship. Yeah, and it really feels artificial, almost to the point where a lot of these arguments for him have been bought and paid for.
Yep, definitely.
I mean, it's a distraction. Politics is a distraction in a soap opera, and sports is a distraction in a soap opera.
Hey, wait. If I could chime in real quick. So, Tom, you know what verifies what you're saying is true? If you just go back and watch some of those old clips with Shannon Sharpe on Undisputed, he commits so many Freudian slips where he will say Michael Jordan's the GOAT, right? Like, for example, he was talking about when Jordan had to overcome the Pistons, and he was like, well, yeah, see, he had to overcome the Detroit Pistons. That's how he became the GOAT. Before, I'm like, wait a minute, Shannon, we get it.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm on this phone, and the audio is dropping in and out. I'm going to go on my computer.
All right.
So I'll be right back.
I'll let you back in.
And I got a clip of Shannon Sharpe saying that, and then he tried to catch himself. Like, no, you committed a Freudian slip because you're lying and you're trying to push this narrative. And then furthermore, if you want to expound on that, Shannon Sharpe said this in 2012. No, Tom, answer this question for me. In 2012, Shannon Sharp said the greatest players of basketball, God, Air Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Okay, fast forward to 2017. All of a sudden now, Kareem is number 1, Jordan is number 2, LeBron is number 3, Kobe's number 9. I'm like, wait a minute. What did Kareem do? Did he come out of retirement and add to his legacy? I'm like, I'm trying to understand this. So yeah, what you're saying is spot on. I'm just glad other people are seeing the forest through the trees, because I'm like, I've never like remotely considered LeBron on the level of Jordan.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of old and I remember all those days, and so to me, LeBron is having a hard time finding his way into the top 10 for me. But
exactly.
But for some of these young guys, it does feel like there's some level of delusion with it when it comes to these younger fans who simply never watch Michael Jordan. But but some of these takes are just so ridiculous that they just have to be artificial.
Well, I'm coming to realize not only did they not watch Michael Jordan, they aren't actually watching LeBron James. They are really no, they're really only looking at their social feeds. The context of the difficulty of whatever that person accomplished on the floor is lost.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I would have to agree. I mean, just by casually watching, a few minutes of the NBA of today's players, you can clearly see there's a huge skill gap.
Yeah, because today it's too much face up, and I get it. There is a certain element that you should have a face up game, but it should also be balanced out with a post up game, and you should also be able to play off the ball. Other than like who, Steph Curry, Jokic, Giannis, kinda, but he has a lot of flaws. Luka, the rest of these guys, they pretty much play the same. And what I mean by that is Jokic, yeah, he puts up triple doubles, but his triple doubles are leading to winning, sort of like Jason Kidd. Now, Jokic, one of the many things I like about his game, he doesn't take away from his teammates. He doesn't take away from their production. Neither does Steph Curry. Now, I'm seeing a guy like Anthony Davis playing alongside LeBron James. You can visibly see the frustration, but he can't come out and say it because he's all paid for by Clutch. Because I can tell you guys right now, you put Anthony Davis in that Spurs system with Coach Pop, or the Golden State Warriors with Curry, Anthony Davis is probably going to be a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to have a couple of seasons that he goes for 30 points per game. Not consistently, but he's being held back by the guy that's coerced him to come play with him because of what? The greed of the dollars. So
yeah.
But it's scary. Like, how much money do you need? You're pointing at the human race as adoption of their only form of value being their bank account, because because as time has gone on, the people who exist out there who would say, well, yeah, that's a tempting paycheck, but my legacy that I'm going to leave behind is more important. Anthony Davis is not poor. How much more money do you need to keep getting, as opposed to separating yourself and trying to leave behind a memory with the fans of how great you actually were, versus an entire career of being a scapegoat?
Yeah. Plus I think these guys are equating money with skill. I keep hearing how great these players are and how great Anthony Davis is, but when I'm watching him play and I see him having good moments, I have a hard time envisioning him actually being a starter on those great 90s teams. Would he even make it off the bench?
Good question. Speaking of how tough it was,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go.
I believe that he would, simply that he did come from one of the top 5 schools, Kentucky, because I look at the Blue Bloods, UCLA, Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, and then the Tar Heels, my team. So I do think he would. Now, could he sustain it? That's another conversation, because we see how fragile he is now in this less physical era. And I mean, he just gets bumped a certain way and like, damn, man, you hurt again. So I
Yeah.
think talent wise, yes, but endurance wise and his durability, probably not.
What's it going to take for us to stop saying that about him, though? Because he's played more games than LeBron the last 2 seasons, and he's playing more than, I mean, nobody plays, very many games anymore. So how many years does Anthony Davis have to be mostly healthy before we stop attributing that to him?
Quick question, for both of y'all. Did you guys ever hear about Kareem and Hakeem dealing with significant injuries throughout their career?
No, I heard Kareem get criticized for looking older, but I don't really remember the injury talks.
Now,
Yeah, Kareem kind of wore down, but Hakeem, his career was actually cut short, through a chronic back injury.
Yeah. Now, the reason why I say that is throughout their career, for the most part, they were durable, but they also did yoga. Understanding 7 feet tall, so rather than try to bulk up, not saying that muscle isn't good, but you got to have that. You got the pliability, like they say the old bamboo stick, bend but don't break. So
yes,
Kareem doing yoga, Hakeem doing yoga, and for the most part, I mean, eventually, you're going to deal with some type of injury, but for the most part, they were durable. I've never considered them to be as injury prone as Anthony Davis, and I think with Anthony Davis, he's trying to bulk up, but okay, you might need to learn how to stretch out certain areas in your body. So if you do come down a certain way, muscle memory is built up. This way it's not foreign. And, it might be like a, minor little nag, but it's just like when I see him, it's like, bro, this dude get hurt and he just gone. But to his credit, he did play more games than LeBron with this past season. So I got to give him that. And I'm hoping he can keep it up.
I see the other difference that I see between these guys is not just the way they train physically, but mentally. I mean, like Hakeem, humbled himself to train with guards.
Yeah.
And Kareem trained with Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
So, to me, that tells me that these guys were just mentally tough enough to push through a lot of these rigors and challenges that I'm not so sure that these guys today are willing to do. I mean, for like Anthony Davis to get better physically, he has to humble himself to understand that there are weaknesses in his body and in his game that he needs to work on. And I'm not so sure he's willing to do that.
When you get max contracts without being willing, it makes it hard to be willing.
Exactly.
Michael Jordan said that. He said that 20 years ago. He said himself, Magic, Bird, Isaiah. Even though he despises Isaiah, he still gives the man credit. We had to earn our pay. Now these guys are just getting handed to them right when they sign. Like if you get picked, top 5, top 7, they're already getting max dollars. Like, wait, what? So he said they have no incentive to go out and train hard and earn it because they're already getting paid. It's like,
and if they do live up to the hype, or at least somewhat, if they have a good season, then what do? They say, well, I expect more if you want me to keep producing, even though they already got paid. People who say these guys need to get paid act like they're playing for food stamps, or like they won't eat that night if they don't have a great game. These guys were paid handsomely from the beginning to produce. And then they have the nerve to be like, well, if you want me to do my job, you better pay me even more. It's pretty gross.
David Stern never let that happen.
You see, the other thought that I had was, I mean, if all of this is a political construct, to me, that means that once LeBron exits the game, the politics won't stop. Because now that his son is in, I think the next objective is going to be get Bronny his max contract.
Hey, Tom, I'm going to let some other callers in.
Okay.
I appreciate you calling in.
Thanks, guys.
I've got, Dart's been in the background, and Dallas is back. Guys, because my brain is shitty, let me just say this before I forget. Haas brought up the hell that it was to go through the East back then. Just as a reminder, Cleveland, although they had to deal with Chicago, if they hadn't, then you had New York, you had Milwaukee, you had Detroit, you had the Boston Celtics, And, people probably don't think that much about Atlanta, but do you really think that Dominique Wilkins was going down without a fight? I mean, even Atlanta, who probably doesn't stand out to people in that list, was no joke. They're going to push you. They're going to fight. Every single one of those teams was going to be a brawl.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't really an easy path to take. But going through Jordan was clearly the worst one for Cleveland. Dart, are you just rejoining? Do you want to talk, or shall we see what Dallas is calling in for?
Yeah. No, Dallas, you're good, man. I'm trying to figure something out.
Okay. Again, I'm going to thank y'all. This is such a great topic, man. And the caller that was before, I really enjoyed listening to his take. And I want to, it's so funny you took the words out of my mouth, AOH, about Atlanta Hawks. I grew up in Macon, Georgia. And I was born in '77, so Atlanta. You as a kid, you was always rooting for Atlanta. And the good thing about that Eastern Conference back then was that everybody had this small window of winning. They all got to a certain point. Like Atlanta, I think the one year they lost to Boston in the semifinals. I want to say that was when Bird had that. Him and Neek had that big duel. That was kind of like the closest to when Atlanta was going to be able to win the championship. But you're right, as far as those teams in the Eastern Conference, man, was just hell to go through. And like I said, it was all a window where they had everything they needed, and they might have got as far as they can get. And they just had to go against either Detroit, Boston, and then eventually the Chicago Bulls. Then also I just want to speak about, man, Mark Price was so tough, man. Like that guy was he's almost to me he was like a John Stockton of the Eastern Conference. I would say with a better offensive game, because he really could shoot it, and he really but he played, to me, he did that pick and roll just as well. I don't know if you would say Larry Nance was on a level of a Karl Malone as far as a perimeter, as far as shooting off that pick and roll. But I feel like Mark Price is one of those players that's, man, I don't even know. Is he a Hall of Famer? Did he get chosen for the Hall of Fame?
That's a good question. I think he was an all-star only 4 times. I was surprised to learn that.
The reason why I say that is because I don't know how I feel about Michael Cooper going into the Hall of Fame. I saw that the other day. Like I like Michael Cooper, and I think he's a good player, and I know he was on a team that won a couple of championships. But Hall of Fame, it's like almost like if you put, I don't know, that was a little difficult for me. I'm curious to what you guys' thought is on that. I didn't want to take you off topic because I really like the this conversation about the Cavs, especially mentioning the Atlanta Hawks of the 80s and the 90s. I was a big fan of them as well.
Well, it's not totally off topic, because once you got through that chainsaw of the East, the Lakers were waiting for you in the West. I got to think that the fact that he was part of Showtime has Michael Cooper in people's minds. And, there's so many great players in the NBA. You have to be seen for people to, that's not true. I mean, if you have true students of the game, they're watching everybody, but it couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt to be on the Showtime Lakers if you're trying to get into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. So my take to that is, okay, let's look at Ben Wallace. We know he had no offensive game whatsoever. Stalwart on defense, rim protection, post defense. I want to say he's 9-time all defensive team, 4-time defensive player of the year. So he's pretty much, when you say, like a lot of people, I think it's a misconception that if you're not good on offense, you're not a good player. Well, no, Ben Wallace just understood, this is my strength and I'm going to excel. So when I look at Michael Cooper, right, no, I'm not putting him on the level of Ben Wallace, but I think it's his defensive production, right? And then you got to add in, he was a great shooter. I think 2 or 3 seasons, he shot like 38% from 3. I'm pretty sure he shot over 80% from the free throw line, and then he was excellent in transition. But this is the thing I like about Michael Cooper that a lot of people don't point out. He was always the assignment for the other team's best perimeter player. He had to guard Bird. He had to guard Isaiah. Joe Dumars, Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, all them guys. Bernard King, he had to draw that assignment, right? So for him to know, okay, I got to go out here and do the dirty work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he's a 5-time champion. I feel like he played a significant part too.
Right.
This is just me. I think it's long overdue. I'm just like,
okay.
I'm like, yo, hold on now. Now watch this, Dallas. What has Tracy McGrady done to get a Hall of Fame nod over Michael Cooper? Because I know T-Mac came out of high school, so he has no college career. NBA, he never got out the first round. Okay, he got a couple scoring titles, cool. But I'm like, hold on. When I saw T-Mac got the nod, I'm like, how did T-Mac get in the Hall of Fame before Coop? Like, what?
Look,
This is recency bias. That's just
God. Hoop God, I love that because I'm one of them people that agree with you about that. Because when I saw it, I'm just like, T-Mac had some good years, but Hall of Fame, like it was almost like when he went in the Hall of Fame. Now that just opens it up for a lot of people. Derrick Rose probably going to get in the Hall of Fame, you know.
That's MVP,
so it's kind of
exactly.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy because I'm like, I don't know. And then what's even crazier about it is, man, these guys, man, when you see them on TV, like T-Mac, and I'm like, he really, I'm not saying he shouldn't think this. He should think he's a Hall of Fame player because he's, NBA player. But I'm like, man, you talking like you was just, you know what I mean? Like you just didn't have it and I didn't have the team, that type of talk. And I'm just like, man, some of them, you can at least win a first round though. I don't care how much help you're saying you didn't have. It's just hard to convince me that a career that long you can't win a first round playoff. That to me, like you said, that kind of like I definitely would side more with Michael Cooper being in the Hall of Fame than I would say Tracy McGrady. You got me on that point. I can see exactly what you're saying.
I think it's an argument. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an argument because Michael Cooper had the Defensive Player of the Year. He was on those championship teams with the LA Lakers. However, you had the individual dominance with the scoring titles of Tracy McGrady. So it's something any of the All-NBA first teams. I don't think Michael Cooper ever had an All-NBA first team. So I think it is a debate because I think most people would agree that Michael Cooper really – now, obviously, he's part of the team, a big part of the team, very serious defender, given the iconic title of being the Defensive Player of the Year for a year. And he was a major part of those runs. However, I think there's the contrast to it. So I think it is an argument. If I think that'd be a good debate, who's greater, Michael Cooper or Tracy McGrady, and I think both of them have a decent argument.
And I do want to ask y'all this too, and I definitely want y'all to let y'all get back. But the Michael Cooper Hall of Fame thing, even the Tracy, it makes me think about people like Sean Kemp. And I look at his team success. I look at how many times he went to the All-Star game, and it's kind of like, now that people are getting in, I'm like, is Sean Kemp a Hall of Famer? You know what I mean? It makes it hard to decide who's a Hall of Famer right now because to me it should be a no-brainer. When you think about a player and you think about Hall of Fame, to me it should be like a no-brainer. Like it's like it should be you're not even having a question,
right?
Yeah, you shouldn't have to. And it's a lot of players I feel like they're putting in now. You got to kind of think about it a little bit too much.
Because I wanted to come back to what you said. If Grant Hill could get out the first round, right? How come T-Mac couldn't?
Yeah,
I would have to look at that, And I know Grant Hill did suffer those unfortunate injuries, but I'm like, damn, he was able to get out the first round. Like, yo, T-Mac, you're the main guy. You can't get past the first round.
Yeah, and you know what's funny, Hoop God? If you go back and you look at the stats of those first round series, because I went and did that, it's not that good. His stats are not what he did. I mean, if you're just looking at the numbers on paper, he didn't play well. He just never really played. His scoring average was high, but when you look at the shooting percentage, it's like 42. It's like low 40s, like 42. That's kind of like, I don't know. So that's kind of hard for me. But just to get back to what you all was saying about Cleveland, I wanted to also put it on the map about where Cleveland would be. I'm looking at how they developed within this losing to Chicago. they had a team where they had Gerald Wilkins, and they still had Hot Rod, they still had Larry Nance. I'm not sure if they had Terrell Brandon yet, but that team that Michael also hit a game-winning shot on was, I think, in '93, was a really good team. So I definitely think if they hadn't won a championship, they would have at least had a championship appearance, I think. And I'll just leave it at that and let a caller get on if they're waiting.
To answer the earlier question, for what I can find, Mark Price is not a Hall of Famer. Although after listening to you guys talk, it's not that surprising. I mean, he was a great basketball player, but that's a very, very, very long list of people. I think this is for you, Dallas. I'm not sure. Maybe it's for Hoops God. Ask him, does he agree that Mark Aguirre should be in over McGrady and Cooper?
Ooh. You know what? I think
Mark
so.
Aguirre definitely should be in over McGrady. Yes.
I think so. When I look at what Mark Aguirre did with the Mavericks, and then he kind of took his role down a little bit more when he went to Detroit to win. And he was a key player for Detroit. It wasn't like he was just on there. He was tough. He was one of the players that the Bulls had a problem with.
Yeah. Michael Cooper, well, not Mike, but Mark Aguirre. They took the Showtime Lakers to a 7-game series in the Western Conference Finals. So, to me, now I'm gonna ask y'all real quick: who was his second best player?
Roy Tarpley.
I mean, now, the reason why I'm saying that, okay, is he anywhere? Like, if I'm looking at T-Mac's, collective talent, and I'm looking at Mark Aguirre, who is Roy Tarpley compared to the T-Mac's second best player? For which, if you want to say Rockets or if you want to say the Orlando Magic. But I'm like, if Mark Aguirre can get that team to the Western Conference Finals and then go 7 games against the defending champion Lakers with a prime peak Magic Johnson, I mean, how is that not? Then he goes to, like you said, he goes to the Pistons. He kind of like scales it back a little bit. And then, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think he took the bench role and said Rodman needed it. So that shows me selfless. See, a selfless player realizing it's not about me, it's about the team. Yeah. Aguirre should have been in a long time ago, but we know who he played with, the bad boy Pistons, and we know how, unfortunately, society views them, which I think is unfair. Yeah, they were dirty, they whatever, but don't take away from what they accomplished.
Great
Bill
team.
Laimbeer needs to be in there. Isaiah's in there, and I know Dennis Rodman, Joe Dumars, but Laimbeer should be there, and definitely Mark Aguirre. Like, come on, man, get those dudes they're just due.
You guys realize I didn't even mention Philadelphia when I talked about the East, and that was when that was with Dr. J and a young Barkley.
Moses Malone,
Percy Hawkins,
Hey, wait,
Errol Dawkins.
I just thought about something. What Moses Malone told Barkley. He said, "You're fat and you lazy."
Yeah.
That wasn't a lie.
Bring those guys back. They're just going to tell you the unmitigated truth. Just bring those guys back.
Meg and some other people also mentioned Indiana, which here's what's interesting. Indiana didn't even make the playoffs one of those 2 years. That's how tough the East was. But yeah, they were in the next season.
Can I ask? I want to ask Dallas a question.
Go.
Do you think Michael Jordan fans are the best?
Hell yeah, Michael Jordan fans are the best. No doubt about it.
Hell yeah.
No doubt about it. Hey, another team I just thought about was Milwaukee. Milwaukee was tough too.
Yeah. I said Milwaukee, but I didn't name any of the players, and they had big dudes. And here's who was on Indiana in '89. Detlef Schrempf, Mike Sanders, Chuck Person, Reggie Miller. I mean, those are names that I recognize.
What year? What year is this?
This is the 89-90.
Oh, okay.
Do you think was Smith's on that team yet?
I
No,
don't.
They
think
had Detlef Schrempf though, didn't they? Did they have Detlef Schrempf?
Yes, they did.
And not to digress, Detlef Schrempf outplayed Scottie Pippen in the '96 finals. More points on better efficiency. But they won't talk about that.
Scottie Pippen has some great highlights. He has some moves that I can't deny his ability, but that guy didn't do himself any favors causing some of us to go back and look more closely at his career, because he was a no-show a shitload of the time, and it also took him a long time to develop. Man, you could say that he was a liability as much as he was a help. No, I mean, that might be a bit strong, but man, he did have his fair share of times that it was like, okay, let's carry this guy along. Hey, Hoss, you're in the house if you want to shout at any of this.
No, I'm just waiting my turn.
Does it pertain to what we're talking about right now, or do you?
I got one more things that are direct responses.
All right, chime in.
Okay, first thing on LeBron and the political angle. Okay, what people need to understand is that.
No, skip this one.
Hold on. Let me just say this real quick. Okay, Clutch Sports. Listen. Clutch Sports is not a professional organization. What people need to understand is Clutch Sports is LeBron James's hitmen in the NBA. That's the facts. And
hitmen are professionals.
Well, they're not on the books. Let's put it that way. Okay. They're off the books. And that's what Clutch Sports is. They're off the books hitmen. And if you look at what they do, okay, not all contracts are public. Clutch Sports has a ton of contracts with media members to basically pay the media to mouthpiece for LeBron. In fact, if you could just Google Shannon Sharpe and Joy Taylor actually exposed Shannon Sharpe as being a secret agent on the Clutch Sports payroll. Okay. And and so Clutch Sports has bought the media, and let's face it, LeBron James is a billionaire. He has paid for his legacy. It's not a legitimate integrity-based legacy. He's basically paid for the whole legacy. And that's why the gentleman on the panel who said that after LeBron's career is over, there's going to be a bunch of stuff come out, a bunch of books being written. That will happen. Now, real quick on 3 other points. I'll make it quick, I promise. Okay. Anthony Davis is actually an absolute beast. I don't know who was trying to downgrade that man, but when he was on the New Orleans Pelicans, those years are actually, he's underrated on those teams. He was 4th-time first team All-NBA, not second, third team, first team All-NBA on the Pelicans. He never got no burn in the media. And then he got injured on the Lakers a lot, but when he was in New Orleans, he played like 60 games basically every year, 65 games every year. You look it up. And so, and I would say this in 2020, in the finals in 2020, Anthony Davis deserved that MVP award.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was since LeBron James dominates the ball on offense, LeBron James would get all his points when they were up comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when it was a close game, the ball was delivered to Anthony Davis to get buckets in the first half and the third. When LeBron James got all his points, the stat pad, they were already up 8 to 10 points, 12 points in those games.
Yep.
And so if you watch the games closely, all the important possessions, they were delivering the ball to Anthony Davis, and he would get the scoring. And by the way, his defense contributed to that win as well. So Anthony Davis was the MVP of that finals, and so LeBron got carried in that one too. Okay,
right, let me respond to you before you move on to the next one, because I started I've got this ongoing series looking at LeBron's teammates, and I was staggered reading his numbers from the Pelican years, and he was breaking all kinds of records. And in recent years, while people call him soft, that guy is playing both ends, and he is running up and down the court, and he is a beast on defense, and he's got all kinds of weapons on offense. And he is not a small dude. Like, his shoulders look pretty big to me, and he's got a 7'6" wingspan. And I have also downloaded all of the 2020 finals games in preparation for breaking those down. And you're absolutely right. The only reason the Miami Heat were hopelessly outmatched, even without the injuries, and then they lost their best, and then they lost their best scorers on top of that. The only reason it was as close as it was because of LeBron James's pursuit of stat padding. And then, as you said, Anthony Davis made sure that they didn't actually lose. That's my contribution to what you just said. I agree with everything you said.
So let me get to Michael Cooper. Okay, I believe that Michael Cooper deserves to be in the Hall. I'm not sure about Mark Price. Like I said, I compared those great Cavs teams to the 2004 Detroit Pistons because you had all these players who were just right there on the bubble of the Hall of Fame, right? But not all of them made it. I think on that 2004 Detroit team, Ben Wallace is the only guy in the Hall. Is Rasheed in the Hall? No. Is Rip Hamilton in the Hall? No. All these guys on that team were not a lot of them are in the Hall, right?
Good point.
So the Cavs on that team, I don't think they had a single Hall of Famer. Is Brad Daugherty in the Hall? I don't think so, right? So all those guys were great, but they just were on the bubble for the Hall. But Michael Cooper, the one thing about that is if you make 8 times all defense, I think that slides you in. I just have to say, because if I just looked it up, okay, there's fewer than 20 players all time who have been all defense team 8 times. Fewer than 20. Okay, so if you actually can hit that 8-year mark on all defense, I think that slides you in, even if it's by the narrowest of margins. So I think that he probably deserves to be in there just based on the all defensive selection. By the way, he didn't shoot the ball too badly either. His 2-point percentage was above 50% from the field. And one final point on T-Mac, I will depart from you guys on this slightly. I don't think that his playoff runs are a reason to keep him out the Hall. I think that if you want to knock him for that, that's maybe a reason to keep him out of the top 75 list. Because NBA did that top 75 all-time list a few years ago, and T-Mac wasn't on that list. And I think maybe that's the reason he was knocked out of that list. But in terms of the Hall of Fame, man, T-Mac was one of the premier scorers of all time. I mean, that man, he could give you a bucket anytime, 30 points a game, easy work. You know what I'm saying? So I think he definitely deserves to be in a Hall. If you want to knock him for the playoffs, then keep him out the all-time 75 list. You know what I'm saying? Maybe put some other guys in there on like Grant Hill or Bernard King or some of them other guys. And the other thing is injuries also affected T-Mac as well. We can't forget about that. Just like Grant Hill, Bernard King, injuries kind of took him off the off the path.
Yeah.
And at 27, 28 years old too. So I just got to get my shit off on those topics.
all good points. All good points. And,
but man, I respect all the panelists because y'all are definitely old school basketball history aficionados. And so I respect everybody on the panel. Just slight disagreements here and there.
And, I don't actually think Mark Price should be in it. I thought he was a great example of there's a lot of great NBA players and not everyone can get in. Yeah,
right. You don't want to make it the Hall too big. Otherwise it diminishes the greatest in the Hall. You know what I'm saying?
Someone's got to be left out.
Right. In fact, the people that are left out make it a great thing to be in because the more great stars that are left out, that just proves how much of an honor it is to be in there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Haas. Good stuff. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Hey, I want to know why FYF thinks Michael Cooper isn't a Hall of Famer. That'd be interesting. I just want to hear his take.
Can I ask y'all one question? Then I'm gonna hop off and let y'all do y'all thing.
Okay.
Back to the Mark Price thing. I also had a problem with Chauncey Billups, to be honest with you, in the Hall of Fame. I know they got the one championship.
I can see your reasoning for him, though. I can.
So it's kind of like he was good. Like if you take away just his Detroit years, right?
Yeah.
He was only in Detroit, but what, 5 years maybe? 5, 6 years?
04, 05, 06, 07, 08. So, 6. Because 2009, he went to Denver and took them to the Western Conference. So, he was 6 years in Detroit.
So, I'll say for 7 years, he was you probably can say he was you can say he was a top 5 point guard based on what he did. But at the same time, I look at what Mark Price did. I mean, if we're looking at the competition, we're looking at who his contemporaries are, what he did against those guys. I'm not saying he should. It's just like some of the guys they're putting in, it makes me look back at guys and kind of be like, well, if you're going to put Chauncey Billups in, then, it's a couple other guys we might got to look at a little harder, But
I agree.
I'll leave it with that, y'all. Man, I'm going to keep listening, man. This is some fly stuff, man.
I need to correct myself earlier. You asked me if Rick Smits was on that Indiana team, and he was. I said he wasn't. He was, along with Detlef Schrempf.
And this was 89, 90?
Yeah.
Damn.
You know what's so cool about them? And I think that's what we love in basketball as fans. It's like how you looking at all of those rosters and know who those players, who those teams had. All of those teams developed into a championship caliber team at some point.
Yeah,
all of them. Indiana, Atlanta, and they developed those guys. Rick Smith got to a point where, like in 93, 94, the Flying Dutchman, he wasn't no joke. You know, so it was. And as a fan, you liked that, and you didn't have the divisiveness between teams. You had your team, but you didn't mind watching Detroit make their path. You didn't mind watching teams get to that point where they actually won. So you actually enjoyed when Detroit won, when LA won, when Houston won. You enjoyed Chicago won, but you enjoyed the path. It just you saw them trying to get there. New York, you was happy when New York finally got to the finals because you saw them kept losing to Chicago. You know, and it was I think as a fan, that's what we're missing now because nobody wants to develop. And I don't know if we're going to ever have that. It's going to probably be a while before people actually we actually get players that develop, really develop and take the right route into becoming having this cohesive team and actually building this camaraderie with the team where you're winning and becoming a dynasty again. I don't know if that's going to happen, because of that.
Yeah, I wanted to speak on that real quick. That's why I respect the Denver Nuggets. That's why I highly respect what Giannis did in 2021, before he started acting like a diva. And that's why I give Steph Curry his validation for 2015 and 2022. And if you want to throw in the Boston Celtics, I will too. Because to me, those organizations showed just what you said. They stayed pat. They kept their core players that they drafted and said, this is what we're going to build around, our cornerstones. And then ultimately became champions. Because, look at Denver. They could have traded Jamal Murray. When he got injured and it took a while for him to come back to form, they stayed with him. It paid off. We'll take Giannis and the Bucks, right? They could have got rid of Chris Middleton. No, they stayed with him. And then they just got that one piece, which Drew Holiday, which I see they're regretting. They won the championship. Now, when we come to Boston, right, they did trade Marcus Smart, but I understand why. Because Drew Holiday had a higher basketball IQ. He could bring more than what Marcus Smart could. It paid off. So I do want to see more of that, like you said, versus, guys going to one team and staying 45 years. Oh, I can't do it. I'm going to leave. To me, it just, I don't know. It kind of dilutes your legacy because it's like, well, if we're looking at these other guys who could stay with one team, like you said, the Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, he could have went out there and put up them numbers like Magic, but Chuck Daly put him aside. He said, Isaiah, do you want to win or do you want to have fun? Once he understood that, they took off. Instantly became championship contenders. But yeah, I just think it's only a few teams. You got to draft that one player that has that mentality. But for the most part, it's just kind of like once these guys see they can't do it, okay, now I got to leave.
Yeah. Yep.
Gentlemen, I'm going to end on a strong note. This is good stuff. I appreciate all the callers that called in today, recognizing the Cavaliers of 88 and 89 and 90. And Dallas, as usual, thank you for your support and for calling in and your contributions.
Oh, man,
and join in next time. And up on the screen with me, we have Hoops God.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you being here. I knew this topic would be up your alley.
Yes,
and
sir.
Got anything else to say before I end it?
Man, just thanks for bringing me on. Always good talking hoops with you guys. Man, and then when you bring in the comedic side, I thoroughly enjoy all of that, man. Hey, tune in to Precision Hoops. Normally going live either on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Of course, on Sundays with Dart and Michael Jordan fans are the best. And my signature, it's imperative that we destroy these narratives, and I will continue to do that.
Good stuff. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. AOH.
Bronny was held down after game one and then has been the top rebounder for the Cavaliers since. Nance. Baseline.
No dribble, just a pull up.
Well, this game is taking on the same frame as the first four games have, where the Cleveland Cavs have gotten out quickly.
Jordan coming off the screen, hits his first shot of the game. Jordan needs 25 points to break Bernard King's record for most points in a 5-game series.
What pressure on a player knowing you have to come out and score 40 for your team to win?
Mark Price with his basket, and it was Price who scored 31 in Game 3.
You got to score 40 for the team to win.
Jordan gets it in good position to Pippen under the basket. Oakley lost it to Harper.